name is Devontae Grace. I'm a writer and director. When I was in high school, there was a show called First and 10 that many of you now know as ESPN First Take. The show would always come on during school hours, so I was almost never able to catch it. I couldn't wait for summertime to roll around so I could sit home all day and watch one man talk sports on television. And that one man was Rob Parker, my friend and a great mentor. I always respected Rob from afar because Rob was one of the very few people on television that absolutely did not care what anyone had to say about his opinions, whether that be sports or political. My respect for Rob has grown even further because I see how dedicated the man is to pushing forward the next generation of young people. I'm a young kid who decided he wanted to move out to Los Angeles to pursue his dreams, and I knew absolutely nobody that lived in Los Angeles. I DM'd Rob on Instagram, and not only did Rob respond, he responded within a couple minutes. As soon as I got to LA, Rob was able to sit down with me, and he assured me that whatever I needed, he would always be there to help me. Rob has helped me and so many other people. A young man from Jamaica, Queens, who decided to pursue his dreams, is now trying to help other young people pursue their dreams. This is the story of a man who has helped so many people, including myself, my friend and mentor, Mr. Rob Parker.
But of all the things I've accomplished in my career, the thing that resonates the most, that I'm most proud of, is the mentoring of other sports writers and broadcasters coming up behind me.
My name is Darren Haynes, and before I was a SportsCenter anchor at ESPN and now the sports director at the CBS station in Washington, D.C., Rob Parker gave me my first opportunity on television.
Whenever they come up with the list for greatest mentors ever, Rob Parker's name should be toward the top of that list. I'll never forget reaching out to Rob via email in December of 2007. And he got right back to me and said I could intern with him in Detroit.
I actually was going to quit pursuing my dream to go and work at Wachovia Bank in North Carolina. That's how bad it was. Rob cussed me out. Said, no way, no how.
It was easy for me to want to mentor because people mentored me when I started my career in 1986 at the Daily News in New York. I was a young guy, 22 years old, needed guidance, needed help, and people went out of their way to look out for me. And I thought to myself, if I ever get in a position where I can help others, I will do it. I can never forget the day that I went to go cover my first St. John's basketball game on the road in Buffalo. I got off the plane, wasn't sure where I was supposed to go and how this all went, making my first road trip. And there was Bill Rhoden from the New York Times. And you know what he said to me? Man, get in my car. And he showed me the ropes. I didn't have to ask him for help. He asked me to join him, and I'll always be thankful. In Cincinnati, there was Hal McCoy, the Hall of Fame baseball writer. When I showed up, I was this hotshot new young reporter from New York, here to kick some butt in Cincinnati. Hal was the dean. He had covered the team for like 25 years. And he looked out for me. He didn't fear me or run from me. He didn't know me from Adam. My very first day, my laptop didn't work. I was stuck. Hal just met me earlier that day, and you know what he said? Don't worry about it. Use my laptop and write your story. I was a competitor. I was the new guy. But Hal looked out for me. And he taught me in my years in Cincinnati how to be a great baseball writer and mentored me. I watched how he did things.
I am Alexander Pineda, and I am one of the lucky people who call Rob Parker a mentor. Rob has been a part of my life for 6 years now. I met Rob at the NABJ convention in Boston in 2014. I introduced myself to Rob in the lobby, We exchanged information, and that was the start of what's been an incredible bond for me. Meeting Rob was incredible. As a kid, I was such a big fan, and he took the time to talk. He showed care, and not only that, he would reach out to me. Anytime he was in New York, he would say, "Hey, Alex, I'm going to be in town. Can you come meet me?" He introduced me to a bunch of other guys that are also his mentees. And, Rob, at this point in time, we've developed a very personal relationship. Rob is family. I can pick up the phone and call Rob about anything.
A lot of people that I've come across over the matriculation of my young career are sometimes tight-lipped. But Rob is definitely not that. Whenever I have a question, he's there to give constructive feedback, to give advice. Even if it's something that I'm not ready to hear in that moment, I still appreciate it because he's very honest. And in some moments, he doesn't even give advice. Sometimes he's just a sounding board, someone to listen to you. And I've enjoyed his mentorship over the past 9 years. I met him in 2011 at the NABJ conference in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, my hometown. I was just a young kid, ready to jump into the career field of journalism. And he has always been there for me since that day.
What's happening is Solomon Williams, longtime mentee of Rob Parker. In 2015, I interned with Rob, emailed a ton of people who work in sports media in the local market. Rob put in over 3 decades in the Detroit market. He was the only person to respond to my email, let me intern with him the whole summer, covered Tigers baseball games. We did radio during the afternoons. Just an incredible person. Anybody knows him knows. He takes pride in what he does and takes even more pride in treating people right. And that's what he taught me is be authentic, be yourself, and always do well and do right by people and pay it forward.
The year was 1996, and I was nervous. I was apprehensive, and I was in Monterrey, Mexico to cover the Mets versus the San Diego Padres. I aspired to be a baseball writer, and I ran into Rob Parker and Claire Smith and Pedro Gomez. But first, I ran into Rob Parker and told him of my dreams. He said, "Okay, kid, send me your clips." And I would send the clips to Rob Parker, and he would mail them back. This is snail mail days. And the key was to keep in touch. And Rob always sent me back my clips. And over the years, I've found that if you find folks who invest in your career, who have ownership in your career, they'll make sure you succeed. And in Rob Parker, we've seen that across sports. So the best advice I could give you is find a mentor, find somebody who believes in you, and trust that he will help you.
My name is Mikkel Ramos, and there's so many things, great things that I can say about Rob Parker. But one of the things that I've actually cherished about him, as far as him being my mentor, is the fact that he's so hands-on with it. And he doesn't just tell you how the dream can be. He shows you. My second time in LA, I said, "Hey, Rob, I'm coming out there. I would like to have a coffee with you if I can." He did me one better. He gave me a tour of Fox Sports. He showed me around, let me meet people, let me see how they operate around there, and then invited me out with other people that are like me, that do the same thing as me. And that's what you need. Someone that's just not going to tell you how it is, but also show you. I'm so forever grateful, and it's such an awesome feeling to have Rob Parker as my mentor. And I hope as his mentee, I'm doing him justice.
It's easy to say. I don't think I'd be here if it weren't for him. The constant encouragement, the constant guidance and tutelage, always being there to support you, to lift you up from that abyss that you will inevitably fall into. Before my career even got started, I had become so despondent and not being able to capture that first opportunity. I actually was going to quit pursuing my dream to go and work at Wachovia Bank in North Carolina. That's how bad it was. Rob cussed me out. Said, "No way, no how. Hey, look, okay? You just can't be like that. You can't give up on your dreams, okay? That's just whack. It's just whack." That's what he said. I listened. And that was the beginning of listening to him for the next 30 years. Just a great man, a great friend.